Welcome, sexy fishmen, to Geek Salad's retro movie review from the Geek Salad podcast. I'm Andy.
And I'm Mike.
And today we continue our road to the Oscars by discussing last year's winner for Best Picture, Guillermo Del Toro's odd sci-fi romantic fantasy, The Shape of Water.
It is an odd movie. I'm not going to lie.
Right. It is definitely one of a kind.
Yes.
Oddly, though, it is, I think, an incredibly beautiful movie. Not one I would go to the well for a lot, but I really enjoyed it when I watched it. It was one of those, I'm going to put my phone down and watch this movie.
Yeah, for the most part, I really enjoyed this. I thought, yeah, like you said, it was a beautiful movie. A lot of the shots are very unique and striking. The main characters was what's her name? The actress
Sally Hawkins.
Sally Hawkins. For some reason I kept thinking Sadie Hawkins. But no, Sally Hawkins.
Into the dance.
Yeah, no, Sally Hawkins was amazing as Eliza.
Yeah.
Her friend Zelda.
Oh, Octavia Spencer.
Yes, she was fantastic. I loved Giles as well.
Richard Jenkins is very, very good in this movie.
Yes.
When it comes to Octavia Spencer, I'd be hard pressed to say when she isn't the best thing in any movie she's in. She is just simply an amazing find, and I'm so happy that she works a lot.
So you could say she's simply the best.
Simply the best.
Sorry, we
preview from last night's recording.
Yes, we've got a podcast episode that's coming up that will explain that a little bit more.
Yeah. So let's discuss what The Shape of Water beat at the Oscars last year. So it beat out Call Me by Your Name.
Yeah.
Darkest Hour. Dunkirk. Get Out. Lady Bird. Phantom Thread. The Post. And 3 Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri.
That's actually a pretty stacked field, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, it is. It's one of those things that during the summertime of 2017, I was convinced that Dunkirk, it was Dunkirk's prize to lose, because this was the first time Christopher Nolan actually got Oscar nominations for directing.
Yeah, which is odd. I mean, when you think about it, it's Christopher flipping Nolan.
Right, exactly. You would think we would have gotten one for Inception, and he didn't.
And also, Phantom Thread. You've got Daniel Day-Lewis and Paul Thomas Anderson.
Right, exactly. Honestly, that was like one of those. Oh, they made a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting because I think this isn't a year I'd complain about where the Best Picture winner went. I really liked what Guillermo Del Toro was trying to say in this movie.
I can't really say one way or the other because I haven't seen any of the others.
Okay.
I don't know if personally I would go for this movie as Best Picture material, but like I said, I can't really compare it to the others because I haven't seen them. So
I've seen a couple of them. Dunkirk is incredibly flawed. More so in terms of just as a scenic movie, it's just like they don't give you any impression of how many people were on that beach, because there are huge swaths of emptiness on that beach in the movie. 3 Billboards. It wasn't a premise that really appealed to me, and I honestly, been meaning to see Get Out. I just never have.
Yeah. I was kind of surprised that The Darkest Hour didn't get more buzz than it did.
Darkest Hour was made for one reason and one reason only: to shove Gary Oldman into a fat suit and get him win an Oscar.
But I mean, from everything I've heard, he made the most of that role.
Yeah, I heard that show again. I haven't seen it because I mean, most of my recent Churchill viewing has been Brendan Gleeson as Churchill. He did something for HBO,
Okay,
and then John Lithgow played Churchill on The Crown.
Yeah, which I have seen, and I thought he was actually very, very good in that.
Right. I mean, anybody in a fat suit really can do a Churchill impression, though. Just get his cigar and talk like this.
With a British accent.
Right, exactly. But let's talk about The Shape of Water. There's just so many like cute little visual things about this movie that make you love movies. I love the fact that they try to implement little pieces of it being musical. There's a lot of just like little parting glances and just sweet little shots of Alyssa and the Fishman,
Yeah.
which was great. I mean, I guess you can call him the Fishman. I think IMDb calls him Amphibian Man.
Yeah, I love
Man, Abe Sapien.
Well, you're not wrong.
No, I'm not. It's also Doug Jones.
Yeah. I love how like it right off the bat it kind of presents you with Eliza's sexuality.
Right up front, first 2 minutes of the movie.
Yeah. And also I love like the first like the opening sequence right from her, you know, the very start of it right to her being at work. I noticed that there was a lot of the sound design. You could definitely they emphasize a lot of the sounds going around, especially since she can't talk.
Right. I what I liked about going back to just the very opening of that movie with them introducing her sexuality is that I think that filmmakers have a tendency to make the lonely, in this case, mute a woman very, very mousy and very unsure of herself and very kind of very closed off. And I do like that she actually has, she has no issues with her body. She has a fully formed identity. And it's just that she hasn't been lucky in love. And that's when the Fishman comes in and they share hard-boiled eggs. By the way, I gotta say, I've never wanted hard-boiled eggs so bad in my life after watching this movie.
Honestly, the thing that amazed me most in this entire movie, how easily she was able to shell those hard-boiled eggs. I mean, those shells came out perfectly. I'm like, I have never in my life been able to get a shell off a hard-boiled egg that easy.
Right, exactly. I roll them though to try to get them off easy, and that never works.
Yeah, I know.
You need water. You need to rinse them off afterwards.
Yes.
Eggs. Yeah, I really love how they handled her. I love also how they really address issues of the time with, her best friend Giles is a closeted homosexual.
Yeah.
And he pines for the guy at the diner. Who that I could see that coming a mile away.
I don't know. I mean, honestly, up until the point where like he jumped away, I was like, is he or isn't he?
There's a little game that you like to play called Southerner Gay.
Wait, no. I've seen parts of Legally Blonde the musical. It's gay or European.
Right, exactly. But this guy was definitely from the South. Which makes sense. This movie takes place in Baltimore.
Yeah, he faked that accent though, didn't he?
The actor did, yeah. But no, he was no, he had a slight Southern twang, and then when he kicks the black people out of the diner, then he hits the heavy Georgia, Jim Crow South thing. And it's like it was nice because they didn't like linger on this. Like Giles didn't go back again, only to then after find out he was a horrible bigot, then to find out that he wasn't interested in him. I'm glad that they just kind of took care of it all in one shot and reasonably early in the movie too.
Yeah, and it also fairly recently in the movie it kind of hinted at the relationship between him and his former boss.
Yes, yeah, which is really kind of cool. I do like too that he's a commercial painter, and it kind of turns into where they want photography now for their ads. Which if you ever watch Mad Men, that's kind of what kind of what that's all about.
Yeah, because I mean, the setting of this movie is like late 50s, early 60s, so that's kind of where when they were transitioning from, those painting and those painted ads to more real people.
Right, exactly. And then you're introduced to the villain, Michael Shannon, who really is the villain in everything now, isn't he?
Pretty much, yeah. And honestly, that's the biggest issue I had with this movie.
He really is kind of cartoonishly big bad.
Yeah, it's like pretty much every scene in him is just another scene to show you, oh, he's evil. Ooh, like the whole scene where he's sexually harassing Eliza.
Yeah,
it's just there to show, oh, I can sexually harass you. Ooh.
Right.
It's you people, and when he's like being all racist to Zelda.
Yeah.
So it's just we get it. He's the villain. Let's move on, please.
Well, I think the characteristic about him I did like, though, was that he refused to let Abe Sapien beat him. I mean, he had his fingers sewed back on, and you could tell they weren't attached right, and you could tell that they were essentially rotting off of his hand, and only until he knows he's defeated and he has to kill this thing, like just kill him dead, is when he finally gives up and rips off his dismembered fingers. But up until that point, he will not give the Gill Man a victory.
That's fair.
He will not concede to him. I also like that.
I feel sorry for his two ignored stupid kids and his Stepford wife.
Oh my God, that poor woman.
Yeah, because she's got no. He'd better have really fantastic life insurance because she's got no way of earning any money.
Oh yeah, no, she's not.
Gonna have to sell her body or something. I don't know.
I also liked Michael Stuhlbarg though as the and this spoilers, please.
Oh yeah,
actually, it's a spoiler when you really get down to it because it's introduced very early in the movie that he is a Russian operative who they're also trying to collect this asset of the Gill Man.
I really, really liked him actually.
Michael Stuhlbarg's a very interesting actor. He was on Boardwalk Empire actually with Michael Shannon, and he's a very, very different type of tough guy. But I really liked the fact that he was the one who had this crisis of conscience about, I don't want to kill him. He's unique.
Although his like Russian handlers were treated very, very tongue in cheek.
Well, yeah, that's
the whole like the spotted cuckoo bird flies backward. Oh yeah, like
a fine day for pontooning.
Yeah. Also, again, kind of an odd factoid, but two members of the cast of the 90s 2000 vampire cop drama Forever Night are in this movie as side characters.
Oh Jesus! Yes. Only you, Mike, and maybe the other Mike, but only you guys, only the Mikes.
What can I say? I get into it when it was on Sci-Fi Channel.
Okay, but yeah, it's because this was shot in Canada. What I find interesting about this movie, and this is getting to Guillermo Del Toro's work, this is not really like, I mean, it's almost like it should be a signature piece of his because of his prior film background, but it doesn't feel like a deeply personal story. This isn't like what we're seeing this year with Alfonso Cuarón and Roma. This isn't like, this big Oscar winner isn't, a love letter to home in Mexico or anything like that. Essentially, this is just his love letter to 1950s B horror movies and musicals and just like those cheesy Rock Hudson romance movies.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what I saw. It's more of just his love letter towards like Creature of the Black Lagoon or those kind of like B horror movies type from the 50s.
I mean, there's always that saying that the Oscars love to award movies about Hollywood. And while this movie does take place in Baltimore, it does feel like an homage to 50s cinema.
It does. Although I do have to say, like, well, because throughout the movie, I kind of felt like that 50s, like horror movie feel to it. But when it does display moments of violence, they are exceedingly graphic for me. I mean, like when he's torturing, when Strickland's torturing Hofstadter at the end.
Yeah.
That is, I mean, that was brutal. It made me a little, and like when he was like ripping off his fingers and making them pus, like
yeah,
it made me uncomfortable how like exceedingly graphic it was.
Right, and it's part of it is that you got an R rating, you may as well use it.
Yeah,
and you earn that R rating in the first 3 minutes of the movie, so you might as well.
You
might as well just exploit it a little bit. What also too, I'm happy that they kind of avoided, maybe the instinct. I don't know if this is an actual instinct or something I think that they might have tried to do, which is to shoot the movie in black and white. I really feel like the green filtering that they used throughout this movie was great because all these above water scenes felt like they were underwater.
Yeah, especially when they're in like Eliza's and Ja's apartments.
Yeah.
And in the creature's like tank room.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough to really like. I don't want to give away a whole lot about this movie, even though we kind of have. It's just that this is a very sweet movie and one that, years from now when they discuss does this movie deserve to win Best Picture, does it not? Yes, it does.
I don't think I'd go that far with it. I didn't like it as much as you did.
Yeah.
I mean, one more kind of weird kind of moment that kind of took me out of the film was that black and white dance scene.
Well, no, I actually like that because it builds in with the fantasy that this movie is established.
I get that, but like just hearing Sally Hawkins finally speak and like sing and then going to that black and white dance moment, it's just it was very jarring because like I was so used to hearing her not speak.
Yeah.
And then really having her sing this song, it kind of just it took me out of the film a little bit.
Okay.
And I would rather just had meaningful looks actually just and kept the whole mute thing going because it just felt out of place for me.
Okay. I enjoyed it only because I mean it's really what it was building to. I did the thing with the end too, and this is total zip through a few minutes if you don't want to know how the movie ends. But the fact that he used his healing powers to take the scars that she's had since essentially infancy, and turn them into gills is so wonderful because it's such a great way of plausibly, if you want to use that word, plausibly keep them together at the end of the movie so they can have that happy ending.
Yeah, and it does like present a lot of questions that it doesn't answer, which I'm very cool with. Like it doesn't say how she got those scars initially.
Nope, they just found her with them.
Yeah, and I mean just like the whole I don't know, hold on, I'm just blanked on it. Go ahead.
No, I just love that because you get that final scene of them just kind of like embracing underwater, and it's a happy thing for a movie that throughout always felt like it was never going to have a happy ending.
And I also like how it kind of Giles, Giles in is kind of like his like not voiceover, but when he's like just talking, he's like he is like a water god or something. It never really kind of says like where he comes from, what he is, but he just has these mystical abilities.
Right. He's from the Amazon. That's all they know. They dug him up in the Amazon.
Yeah. But yeah, I do like the fact that it does provide at least the option. It does imply that there is a happy ending. Like that Giles even says that in his voiceover.
Yeah.
He thinks that they lived happily ever after.
Yeah. And I mean, Zelda, everyone, like the main protagonists also get happy endings too. Zelda's finally stood up to her husband.
I I don't think that marriage is lasting any longer.
No. Well, it's 1950s. Divorce is still a sin. But like Giles, well, first of all, has a full head of natural hair. He also, he's found his identity, which is really kind of sweet, especially for characters of that era. To just, he could just still be the sad closeted gay boy, and they decided not to go with that, which was great.
Yeah, they don't give him a happy ending in a sense that he finds his true love.
He doesn't find love, but he finds himself.
Exactly. Same thing with Zelda. Yeah,
that is way more important in a movie like this.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd honestly, I would give this one a solid 3.5 out of 4 stars.
I would go, if we're going a 4-star rating, I'd probably go 3 stars out of 4. If we're going a 5-star rating, I'd probably go 3.5 out of 4.
All right. I really enjoyed it. So that concludes the movies that we're going to be discussing on our retro movie reviews for leading up to the Oscars. So next week we're going to start something a little differently. We've got 2 weeks left before the big ceremony. And so what we're going to do is Mike and I have decided we're each going to take a year where realistically any of the other movies could have won Best Picture, but they didn't.
Yeah, and the one that did win that, maybe it didn't really deserve that, in our opinions.
Find it problematic. So you'll just have to wait and see. And if you know me, you know where I'm going with this. But it should be an interesting conversation. I would love to hear what you think about any years that the wrong movie won. And don't give us 1998 because we are all aware Saving Private Ryan should have won.
I don't know. I really like Shakespeare in Love.
I do too, but
it's no Saving Private Ryan.
It's community theater versus just the machine of war.
But it's really, really good community theater.
It is really good community theater. Yeah, I really enjoy it. I'm not knocking it, but that's not what we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
So, what did you think of The Shape of Water? Did you like it? Did we miss anything that you might dispute us with, or did you enjoy? Do you think it would deserve to win Best Picture? Please feel free to leave a comment below. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We put out exclusive content every week. Also, Mike and I host a little podcast called Geek Salad, which you can get at geeksalad.podbean.com. You can also download the full archive on the Podbean app and check out our last year's worth of episodes on the Stitcher, Spotify, and Google Music and iTunes apps. So we're pretty much everywhere. You can also check out the audio stream of our podcast right here on our YouTube page. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Geek Salad Radio and on Facebook at Geek Salad Podcast. So, did I forget anything, Mike?
Nah, I think that's pretty much it.
Awesome. So, until next time, I'm Andy.
And I'm Mike.
Go forth and be nerdful. We'll talk to you later.
Bye-bye.